What exactly Russian President Vladimir Putin has stated. He has in fact warned that there will be quote-unquote problems with neighboring Finland after it joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization known as the NATO earlier this year. Finland's ascension into NATO has marked a major shift in the security landscape in Northern Europe and has added some 1,300 kilometers to the alliance's frontier with Russia. It was also a blow for President Putin, who has long warned against NATO's expansion. And now, of course, he has made a very firm statement, and he has in fact stated that there will be problems and that he will now create the Leningrad military district there and concentrate military units near the border with Finland. All right, so this is the latest that we're tracking for all our viewers on the broadcast. Tensions, of course, rising between Russia and Finland, which is a tiny member nation of NATO right now. Adarsh joins us on the phone line for more details. Adarsh, over to you.
So what's interesting here is that Finland actually initially was not interested in joining NATO. Russia and Putin had warned NATO of expanding their presence along the Russian border. Finland pushed to join NATO alongside Sweden after Russia invaded Ukraine. So this is sort of a problem that Putin has created for himself. At the moment, Putin has warned Finland, that while he has no reason to pick a fight with NATO countries, and he's more interested in developing relations, now there may be possible problems because Russia will develop the Leningrad military district along the Russia-Finland border. And the Russia-Finland border in itself has been pretty embattled in the recent times. Finland has been trying to shut the border over the past week and has been claiming that hundreds of people have been trying to cross into the country from Russia without a visa. All of this makes for a very interesting scenario in the region, and definitely something to keep our eye on. Pia.
All right, Adarsh, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. But also with us is Mr. Sanjeev Srivastav, who's an international affairs expert. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on NewsX. What do you make of Russian President Vladimir Putin's tough talk?
Pia, I think Russian President Vladimir Putin is a highly ambitious leader, and obviously he has a vision of reviving the old Soviet Union like status for Russia, and I think for that to do, he wants to he is taking a lot of proactive, assertive steps, and he is attempting to enhance its influence in the European theater as well as several other theaters, whether it is in the Middle East region or in the Indo-Pacific region or African regions. Russia's President Vladimir Putin is obviously a highly ambitious leader. He wants to revive the lost glory what Russia had when it was in form of a Soviet Union. So I think his ambitions are quite clear, and he has been, challenging issuing certain these kind of challenging words to various countries of Russian border, whether it is Finland or Sweden. Obviously, he attacked Ukraine because on the pretext that Ukraine was going to join NATO, and he has already occupied several parts of Ukraine and Georgia and Moldova. So I think this kind of annexation activities what Russia had carried out in the past, and the kind of intentions he is showing with regard to Finland and Sweden, that is a matter of concern. And I am sure that that is precisely why whether it is Finland or Sweden, though earlier they had decided not to join NATO, but because of the Russian threat, Finland joined it. Sweden is also on that course. So I think because of the President Putin's various threats and challenges, which are being posed to various countries in the European region, those countries are, looking forward to joining NATO. And on the contrary of weakening NATO, President Putin has strengthened NATO. NATO is now a very united force, and that has happened precisely because Russia is challenging NATO, and NATO is taking this entire challenge from Russia as a point of solidarity to have a solidarity among them. Earlier, before this Russian invasion on Ukraine, NATO had NATO members had several issues, and they were having issues with regard to coordination, funding, and defense spending, etc., etc. But after the Russian invasion in Ukraine, NATO is now a united force, and now it is coming up with a new members. And Finland has already joined, Sweden is on that course. So I think that if you look at the Russian challenge, that is very much there, and that clearly shows the Russian president's intention to enhance its influence. And Priya, at the last of it, I would say that Russian President Vladimir Putin is attempting to enhance Russia's strategic influence in the European theater and elsewhere by challenging the hegemony and the influence of United States of America and NATO. And with this kind of a statement which is coming out from him with regard to Finland, that clearly indicates that his intentions and his ambitions are still intact, despite not getting a good success in Ukraine. So I think this is a matter of concern, and it might cause further troubles. Obviously, certainly in my assessment, if Russia had succeeded in Ukraine, they would have gone ahead with another for another territory in the European theater. But since Russia has not succeeded, and that's precisely why NATO or the United States of America, they know the Russian intention, they know the Russian president's overambitious designs, and that is why they are defending hard. Though NATO is not fighting directly with Russia, but NATO is providing all military assistance and economic assistance to Ukraine. And in fact, the Russia-Ukraine war is not, in fact, reality is that this is not being fought between Russia and Ukraine, but indirectly, this Russian-Ukrainian conflict is being fought between United States of America, NATO on the one side, and Russia on the other side. It is a contestation for enhancing the influence between the major powers, and the major powers, that is the reality of the Russia-Ukraine war.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.